If there's one thing a young person wants, it's a future, and your future is stolen when a third worlder comes to your nation and stabs you multiple times in the neck and the chest. And then you are left to die. And then you're able to see all of the luxuries afforded to a foreigner who murders you, like the cops handcuffing you as you're begging for help, bleeding out in the road, dragged through the gravel, and told you haven't actually been stabbed, when the guy's actually standing there with a knife. This is the face of a murderer, a cold-blooded murderer, somebody who has zero remorse for the 18-year-old young British boy, Henry Novak, whose life he stole. And now young people all across the UK are rising up. Thousands and thousands are in Southampton today. Just as we predicted, there's going to be a revolution in the UK. Henry Novak's video has accelerated it times 10x. The great empire, the cradle of Western civilization, will not be colonized by the third world. All of the West will follow. We're done being polite. Enough is enough. Well, that prediction rang true. Look at these scenes out of Southampton today. Thousands of people are reciting Henry's last words, "I can't breathe." This will put a chill down your spine. Listen to this. Look at that. Outside of the police station. We need justice for Henry Novak and for all of the young children of the West and Christendom, which is actually, of course, what they're after. They're after the institutions that established great Christian nations. They want to dismantle those. They care less about skin color and more about importing as many people as possible from non-Christian backgrounds into your nation in order to strike at the absolute heart of what makes a nation great, which is a common cause, a common belief system, a common sense of justice, decency, cleanliness, ladies and gentlemen, and vision. And they've attacked these wonderful people. They bring in these absolute barbarians, which is what they are. These are barbarians. This man raped women in England, and this was how he smiled after he was found guilty of this. Same thing here. Both of these Pakistanis. Same thing here, knife stabber. Same thing here. This is the mother, actually, of the man who stabbed Henry Novak, who hid his murder weapon. She is a visitor. She's on a visa. She needs to be sent back home after a long prison sentence. That must happen. She has to be deported, right? This or death, says Elon Musk. And a lot of people are actually calling for the death penalty. You should bring back the death penalty. Rotting in jail is too good for this scumbag, says Rupert Lowe, who is in charge of the Restore Britain political movement. He says, we need to give Vikram Digwa the death penalty. Henry Novak was stabbed by Digwa 5 times, including twice in the back of the legs and the face, a fatal wound to the chest. He filmed him instead of calling for help, and his mother then gave him aid and helped him hide all of his weapons. Keeping the savage alive serves nobody. So I mean, who can argue with this? The fact that a foreigner can invade a country and then kill people without receiving the death penalty is absurd. How are you going to prevent it from happening to your kids? That's the question. How does any young person in England or in America wake up in the morning and say, it's not going to be my day? It's not going to be me today. You can't say that because the authorities aren't there to protect you. And that is where the anger is actually really, truly raging. Is not just that some criminal behaved criminally and he'll be serving life in prison or hopefully the death penalty. It's that the cops aided him and assisted him. That is truly the layer on top of institutional rot. They bring them here. They bring the murderers and the criminals here and the rapists here with our tax dollars. Then they murder, rape, and kill. And then the authorities protect them after that. Oh, it is this. This is why hundreds, thousands, and thousands of protesters have gathered outside the Southampton police station. The arrest footage after Tommy Robinson made a video about the backlash. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, you can see here, they're going after the police. Tommy Robinson, quite the leader of the resistance in England and the nationalist movement. Let's read. Thousands of protesters gathered in Southampton after footage of Henry Novak's arrest and death sparked backlash. Keir Starmer said the body cam footage, brutally knifed, made him sick. Oh, really? He didn't speak up once until the footage was released. Scumbag. Here we go. Protesters are chasing riot police down the street with bins. The fury over Henry Novak's murder has hit a new level. Look at this. Police are now retreating.
They're running them out. They're running them out. They're chasing them with bins. They've got them. They're running them out.
As we have said, George Floyd was a lie. George Floyd was a career criminal drug abuser who died of a fentanyl overdose. They lied to you and said it was police brutality and racism. This is actual police brutality and racism with migrant crime, of course, mixed on top of that. So incompatible cultures brought into England to murder and kill, mixed on top. So you can see here the footage getting rowdy there in Southampton. Henry Novak was murdered because he was white. The police officers perpetrated the murder are racist monsters who should never see the light of day again. Some of the officers in the video have already resigned. That's not good enough. They need to face manslaughter charges. Look at them. Look at the people showing up. There are now calls to have these rallies across the UK. Police come under attack. Southampton, we're not here to instigate attacks against the police. I don't want that. I would never advocate for that. But you do have to accept reality that people are furious right now at this. And that what happened here, whatever you think of this behavior, what happened is a case of abject police brutality and racism against a young white man in Southampton. That is what happened.
Stop! They're chucking the stuff away over the people's gardens. Here we go. Stuff is getting chucked in. The police are getting killed now, guys. The police are getting killed now.
Crazy scenes here. Police in Southampton refused to kneel for Henry Novak, an absolute disgrace. They kneeled for George Floyd, though. Oof, man. One of the officers has resigned.
The last few moments regarding this case, we have heard that one of the case officers in the Henry Novak case has resigned.
Look at the UK police refusing to kneel just because the victim was white. But of course, they knelt proudly for George Floyd. Of course, everyone's going to say the same thing. Tommy Robinson, fiery speech to a massive crowd in Southampton station.
Well done for not remaining silent. Well done for coming out. Henry's murder is that I've spoke about this for 20 years. I said you'll be a victim of a race gang, i.e. Pakistani Muslims, will be beating up a white kid. The police will turn up, they jump on the white kids. Every time, I've seen it my whole life, they jump on the white kids. What the whole world has now seen in Henry's video is what we all know anyway. It's a different treatment for white people compared to non-whites. And we've seen this spread through every single institution in our country. I can't breathe. The crying, the pleading. Do you know what's insane right now? Is you see that scumbag's brother who should be charged for perverting the course of justice is fucking lying.
This is a 4-minute speech, so you can watch the whole thing. Here's the account that posted it, Don Keith. We'll go ahead and follow him back. And you can watch the whole thing if you'd like. Tommy Robinson, I believe, is a cultural hero, and I'm a huge fan of Tommy Robinson. Crazy how silent libs are about this. Did his life not matter, libs, because he was white? Will any lib say that he deserved to live? The young people have pushed protesters back using, the police have pushed people back using riot shields, completely unprovoked and aggressive manner, and doing so escalating tensions, further disorder. Jeez. Did you ever see them behave like this to George Floyd rioters? Jeez. Tactics are crazy. Look at that. You're going to make it worse. Racist police off our streets. Amazing. People of Southampton are furious. The police have an anti-white bias. They know it. You can see they got a busy night on their hands. I do not support attacks on the police, but a society that has lost trust and faith in our institutions without fear or favor is very quickly on the path to becoming a failed state. And then they will replace the police. So what's going to happen? It's happened throughout all history. Very quiet today, Sadiq Khan. That's right. Look at this. Mayor of London, death of George Floyd, George Floyd. Everybody has a George Floyd tweet. Police are retreating in Southampton, visibly outnumbered. The furious crowd. Henry Novak's murder has pushed everyone over the edge. Complete blackout in American media over this. They declared 2020 to be a racial reckoning when a black guy died of a fentanyl overdose. And now they're silent on the story of a white kid who was literally falsely accused of racism and then died. Was murdered and died in the hands of police. Take up space. My entire timeline here. Southampton is getting messy as night falls. There's nothing anyone can do right now to calm down the locals. This is my entire timeline you can see here. Rioting has broken out. Clashes with the police. Clashes with the police. I mean, it was literally the police here. Protesters stormed the apartment bushes on Belmont Road where Henry Novak was murdered. Storming into his actual murder. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, the English will have their home again. I think that what will happen here is a revolution. That was my prediction. This went viral. I couldn't believe it. 12,000 reposts, 64,000 likes. It'll be a revolution, ladies and gentlemen. There's no other way to say it. It's what's going to happen, and it's going to happen in the West. It was entirely preventable. All our leaders had to do was not hate us. Now it's too much to ask. It's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe. Make sure that you are fighting for your civilization.